Congratulations to all of the students, and special congratulations to all the families whose economic prospects are looking much better at the moment. As Dean Luchin said, and I want to say you've already heard the word several times, but I'm going to say it again. Ken Luchin has been really a pioneer in societal engineering, and I'm going to return to that theme. I think it's been really a key to how this School of Engineering has been so dynamic, growing so strongly, and contributing in so many ways. Ken also said that, well, he talked about my 40 years across the river at MIT. He also insisted that I should say that for this ceremony with the engineering school graduation, I did wear my tie with beavers, not because of MIT, but because that's nature's engineer. And so it's one little way of celebrating this occasion. Let me say right up front, there's four things I want to touch on quite briefly. One, of course, is engineers as problem solvers, and I think that is absolutely essential. I might say that, again, I'll return to a little bit the theme of climate change, and that's the way I think of DOE, Department of Energy. There are the negotiators, and there are those of us who actually solve the problem through science and engineering. It involves being pragmatic, dedicated to improving the human condition, providing a science-based approach with a systems view in many areas, energy clearly, but water, agriculture, we could go on and name all the various areas. Secondly, in addition to solving problems, this is a group that invents new possibilities. I graduated, I'm sorry to say, with my undergraduate degree, which was also revealed. I wasn't going to talk about Boston College, a little bit up Commonwealth Avenue, but that was 50 years ago. It's very easy to say that it's hard to obviously predict 50 years from now what you will have seen in your professional lifetime. But what I want to emphasize, it's almost as difficult to imagine what it was like 50 years in the past, because we adapt so incredibly to the changes that we see and that those of you in this profession really invent. Third point, I believe the engineering profession, whether one does engineering or uses that skill set in other areas, is one that I associate historically with enabling social progress at the family level. I certainly was a first-generation college student, and I always considered it a badge of honor to think of MIT as a blue-collar school. And it's getting down there and solving problems and also providing opportunity for many in society who are really just coming into this level of activity for the first time. And fourth, there is both the obligation and the opportunity to improve the lives of the underserved, not only in this country, but across the world. And again, I will come back to that, but emphasizing that outreach across the world, across societies, is itself probably the highest form of diplomacy, as opposed to sitting down and getting an agreement done. It's that kind of commitment, that kind of exchange, which is so critical. So let me, I'm going to just comment briefly on each of those 4 points, but start out by saying that I have to admit that today we have a very disappointing state of political discourse, and that discourse can challenge those 4 pillars of the engineering profession that I just discussed, and in fact it's going to be left to this group coming of professional and political age to help change that discussion using your engineering perspective. So, solving problems. Well, actually, as an anecdote, I might say in terms of particular problems, I was down at the University of Texas at Austin on Monday talking about some challenges that we face in the energy sector, and I want to say that two of your faculty colleagues came up in the discussion, Xin Zhang and Mark Grinstaff, who are doing, I'm told, fabulous work in things like nanosensors and power for the subsurface. But what I really wanted to say is that many decades ago, I read a book that I'm sure many here have read, The Existential Pleasures of Engineering by Sam Florman. That was written at a time of what was considered a developing kind of anti-technology focus on attitude. And as I said, in terms of the current level of discourse, we are seeing not only that to a certain extent, but also too much of an anti-science attitude, disputing facts as opposed to carrying on the kinds of discussions that we need. In that context, I want to just comment briefly something at the Department of Energy that we are, as I said earlier, entrusted with, and that is solutions to the global climate change challenge. This, I want to emphasize, we had a great advance in Paris in the negotiations in December, but it's a first step. It's a first step that needs solutions, not for a year and not for a decade, but this is a multi-decadal responsibility in your professional lifetimes, a major challenge, looking for solutions that involve clean energy with increasing ambition decade after decade. So what we saw in Paris was a great first step, but only a first step. You are going to be called upon for the second step, the third step, the fourth step, as we address this major challenge. And that in itself brings along issues of addressing both a global challenge and one that involves the least served in societies across the world. I mentioned new possibilities, and obviously the whole communications revolution and what we still have to come is one, but I want to mention another one, a surprise, because it involves one of your colleagues again here, Charles DeLisi. Charles DeLisi, your dean in the 1990s, made an incredibly important step. Maybe the students may not know. He basically is the one who got the Human Genome Project going. And he did that out of the Department of Energy, not the NIH, because he recognized the science and engineering capabilities that could be brought to bear on a critical problem when those had not been connected, including things like large-scale computation and the like. So I think that it's really important to think broadly and to think about how the skill sets and the capabilities may be brought in surprising ways to problems. Third, I mentioned the social mobility. Again, I don't know how many, it's perhaps a diminishing fraction of our society that will have first-generation college students, but again, I want to emphasize that connection that I think engineers, scientists and engineers, but civic-minded engineers provide a fantastic way of really, again, spreading the benefits of our progress to those who are just entering an opportunity for higher education. And finally, I want to emphasize the word global perspective. Part of that discourse that we are seeing today is about drawing back, putting up barriers, putting up walls. The global perspective, especially for a country like the United States, is absolutely essential. And as I already said, you who are entering your professional lives, and in many ways, your political lives, I don't mean political in terms of doing politics, but being part of the discourse, it really is going to be your choice to determine how that discourse evolves, as I believe it must evolve for our collective good. Now, your societal engineering perspective brings a lot of that all together in a very important way. And I just want to give an anecdote from my years across the river. Several years ago, 5, 6 years ago, we started something called a Center for Technology and Design. Many of the same concepts as societal engineering, had a sometimes called frugal engineering, etc. The person who supported this, Ratan Tata of India. Interesting. He tried some products for the broad society. And he said very explicitly, the nano car, you may remember, that failed. It was very important insight. Poor people don't like cheap stuff. They like first-class engineering that may have less functionality, but is targeted to real problems. And I think that's at the core of what I think real societal engineering is like. I mentioned to Dean Luchin that when we were committed to doing that, the directive from Mr. Tata was that having committed to do it in late March, he wanted the first class in September. We explained to him, no, that's not the way the academy works. We've already gone through our admissions process for the next year, ... Well, he was very insistent. We thought we were doomed to fail. Immediately when the call went out, we ended up 4 months later with a fully grown program with more students than we could handle. That, I think, was an indication to me about the commitment to societal engineering that we see in you and others of your generation. And when all is said and done, that gives me an enormous hope that the challenges that I've talked about, the need to change the whole discourse in this society based upon your approach to problems, I think we can do it. But again, the choice is yours. We're counting on you. And congratulations again in your rigorous education and your opportunity to apply it with great success over these next decades. Thank you so much.